Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Ghosty Girls podcast. We missed you so much.
Yes.
Thank you again for everyone who is listening. We really appreciate it. Please keep sharing, and we hope that you are liking what we're giving you.
Yeah, give us a share, give us a like, give us a comment. All of your interactions, all of your shares, all of your likes really help to get the word out about the podcast. And, you know, as you all know, the more popular we get, the bigger things that we're going to be able to do.
Yes.
So let's keep that momentum rolling.
I'll even take a high five on the street, too. Not that I walk on streets, but, you know, if I did.
Not that you walk on streets.
You get it.
She will take a Chili's chips and salsa.
I will always
take a Starbucks.
Chili's or Starbucks. Love you, mean it. Let's make this happen, Chili's. We didn't talk about Chili's in our last episode
We didn't, but I want to pause for a moment just to let you all know what the rustling in the background is. Alicia is attempting to put Color Street nail decals on my dog.
First of all, nail strips. And I'm trying to sell anybody.
I'm sorry. Nail strips on my dog.
They're going to look fantastic. I'm just throwing that out there. She's getting the purple mummies.
Yeah, and in no way will she chew them off or anything. I'm sure that they will stay on.
They're going to look magical. You wait. Guess what? If it works, we're going to put a picture up on Facebook.
Aw.
Come on, give me your nails. Come on. No? Okay. Never mind.
So today for you, I have another case that is local to our home state of Delaware. You know I love the local ones.
Same girl. Mm-hmm. Although it also scares me a little bit.
Yeah, because things like this happening so close to home it's terrifying. Today, we are going to talk about the murder of Lindsey Bonistall. On Sunday, May 1st, 2005, around 2:45 a.m., Aetna Hose and Ladder firefighters responded to calls reporting smoke at 81 Thorn Lane, located at the Towne Court Apartments in Newark, Delaware.
I know this is a serious case, but it's so hard for me to hear you say hose and not go boats and hose in my head.
Oh my gosh. I was like, when did I say hose? And then, yeah, the Aetna Hose and the Aetna Hose.
Hose and fire company.
No disrespect to firemen, but
listen,
that's a great name.
You should probably take all of that out, but I just had to throw it in.
I'm going to leave it in.
You get it.
So apparently the fire marshal, Henry Bainham, determined that the fire had originated from a bathroom in the apartment, but that there was no one in the apartment. So he actually left the scene to go to yet another fire not far away from the apartment, but he did secure the scene before he left. Later that afternoon, approximately 8 hours after the initial call, Bainham, the fire marshal, returned to 81 Thorn Lane. As he was looking around, he noticed phrases written all over the walls of the apartment. Now, these phrases were pretty disturbing. And they were phrases such as KKK, white power, more bodies are going to be turning up dead, and give us our drugs back. So all that was scribbled all over the walls of the apartment.
That's unacceptable.
Disturbing.
And disturbing.
Disturbing.
Disturbing's a way better word.
Now, Bainham knew at this point that he wasn't dealing with just a run-of-the-mill fire. So he contacted the Newark Police Department, who sent out Detective Andrew Rubin to investigate. As they searched the apartment, they soon discovered the strangled and bound body of 20-year-old University of Delaware college student Lindsey Bonistall, laying face down in a bathtub covered with debris that included burnt pillows and a guitar.
She was only 20.
She was 20. I know.
And I think I remember this case.
I'm sure you do. It was huge.
Yeah.
So Lindsey Marie Bonistall from White Plains, New York, was born on March 20th, 1985, to parents Mark and Kathleen Bonistall. She was described by friends and family as having an amazing sense of humor. She liked Dave Matthews Band, Pink Floyd, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and she even practiced playing songs on her guitar from her favorite artists.
I always wish I learned to play guitar or drums.
Same, but I have tried, and no.
You look like you play guitar, though, because you got one hanging up.
Yeah, that's just because I bedazzled it, and it's pink. But
beautiful.
Yeah.
I digress so hard. I'm so sorry.
Lindsey enjoyed watching silly movies like Super Troopers and Office Space, which she was said to have quoted lines from regularly. I know.
Do I look like a kitten to you? All nimbly bimbly drinking out of a saucer?
Somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Sorry, this is serious business, okay?
Yes, we digress again.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
A close friend of Lindsey said she always had the most inappropriate joke at just the appropriate moment, which, same.
So us.
We would have gotten along beautifully with her.
I feel like she would have been on here with us.
Probably. Not in this. I don't.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to continue.
Maybe she is. Come on in, Lindsey.
In high school, she was on the soccer team, which she was the captain of. She was on the track team, and she was also a cheerleader. She enjoyed volunteer work, was a competitive diver, and was also senior class president at Good Counsel Academy High School. So she was a rock star.
She was like the American dream.
She was. Yeah, she was like the girl next door.
Yeah.
And she was beautiful too. You'll have to Google her.
All right, I'm doing it now.
She was gorgeous. But yeah, I have no doubt at all that she would have made a huge impact on the world. Like she was a go-getter. She was smart. She was kind. Everyone loved her. I mean, again, I know it's the cliche of
light up a room.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, she would have done great things.
She really is beautiful.
She is. After high school, Lindsey decided that she wanted to pursue a career as a doctor, and she ended up majoring in biology at the University of Delaware before switching to journalism, which she found that she was more passionate about. She actually had the opportunity to transfer to Cornell University in New York, but considering she loved her new independent life in Delaware and she had made so many friends, she ultimately decided to stay in Delaware. And that makes me sad because I feel like if she would have left, she probably would still be alive today. It's so crazy to me how one small decision can literally mean life or death for some people.
Yeah.
It's just, ugh.
Makes you think about little things that you do every day.
It really does, yeah. She was known for her eccentric style, and she was always seen with tons of accessories, earrings, bracelets, and also sparkly shoes.
Like you.
I know. She just seemed like an amazing, cool person, which just makes this all the more tragic considering what authorities found in that Towne Court apartment on May 1st, 2005. On May 2nd, just one day after Lindsey's body was discovered, 911 dispatchers received an odd call from a man who was poorly attempting to disguise his voice. In this call, the man stated that Lindsey's murder, as well as 2 other crimes, were related. So these crimes included a break-in at the same apartment complex Lindsey lived in just a couple of days prior to her murder, and a burglary and attempted rape of another college student in Newark. This caller claimed that all of these were the work of a, quote, white supremacist drug gang. In this call, the man stated multiple facts that only the offender and the police would know, including the contents of the messages that were written on the walls of Lindsey's apartment.
So it was the killer.
Correct. So police knew that this man was not just calling in with helpful tips. This guy was their guy. So this idiot called 911 on himself, basically. Yeah.
Can't fix stupid.
You really can't.
Actually, that was super smart of him to do. Criminals keep doing that.
This guy really is stupid, and you're going to see why as we get into it. So now we are going to backtrack a little.
Okay.
A month prior to Lindsey's murder, on March 8th, 2005, a burglary was reported on Murray Road in Newark. At the scene, officers were able to obtain a boot print, but that's all they had from that.
Okay.
On April 27th of 2005, 4 days before Lindsey's murder, a robbery was reported at 11 Thorn Lane. Again, same apartment complex that Lindsey was murdered in. Now, luckily, no one was harmed during the break-in, and the burglar was only able to steal a couple pieces of jewelry and some, like, other miscellaneous things.
Trinkets and whatnot.
Yeah, but no one was hurt, thank God.
Thank God.
But, interestingly, the burglar wrote phrases on the wall. And one of the phrases was, "We'll be back." Just 3 days after that, another young woman was robbed at her home in Newark, just blocks from Lindsey's apartment complex. The assailant also attempted to rape the victim, but she was able to scream for her roommate, which caused him to flee. This all happened around 1 a.m. on April 30th, 2005. Just 3 hours later, this same man attempted to use the woman's credit card that he stole in a backpack that she had at an ATM, which had surveillance.
Fucking idiot.
Luckily, the victim was able to give a description of the intruder, who she described as a light-skinned black male around 30 years old, wearing gloves and a hoodie. Coincidentally, a second burglary at the first home on Murray Road was reported. So this person did 2 burglaries in one day, and one of them was a house that he had previously burglarized. Remember how he wrote, "We'll be back" on the wall?
Yes.
He did come back to burglarize the home for a second time. Can you imagine your house being burglarized twice?
No, I'd move out of the state.
I would never feel safe again.
No.
Now, due to the 911 caller giving firsthand information regarding all of these crimes, authorities were able to link everything together, and they knew that whoever attempted to use the credit card was the man responsible for all of these incidents. Investigators pulled the surveillance footage from the ATM, and they got it out to the public. Now, I don't know if you remember all this, but I cannot stress how terrifying all of this was as it was happening. I was right around Lindsey's age at the time, as well as other college girls that had been targeted. So it seemed like he was targeting college girls.
What year was this?
This was in 2005. So you were around the same age as well.
Well, I graduated from University of Delaware in 2003.
Yeah.
So I was gone. But yeah, I still lived in Newark though.
You did.
I did.
So, also, I was living pretty much within walking distance of that apartment complex. I clearly remember the posters hung up all around Newark. I saw the aftermath of the apartment fire. People were genuinely afraid with this monster out on the loose, and it was a pretty scary time. Luckily, it didn't take long for the man on the poster to be identified as James Cooke. Now, James Cooke was actually turned in by his boss, who he worked for at a shoe store in College Square, which is a shopping center in Newark. It's now known as the Grove. His boss was also able to confirm that the gloves he was seen wearing in the photo on the wanted poster matched the gloves that James Cooke wore in the stockroom at the shoe store when he worked.
You wore the same gloves?
Yep.
You're dumb.
So now police had a name, and they finally had something to work with. A deep dive into James Cooke reveals a long criminal history with various prison sentences for drug offenses and also robbery in New Jersey. Now, it seems that James ended up in Delaware to potentially dodge a warrant that he had in New Jersey, and he was living in an apartment very close to Lindsey's apartment complex. Actually, they say that if you looked out the back door of his house, if you looked out the back door of his apartment, he could see Lindsey's apartment complex. Yeah. So James was living with his pregnant girlfriend and their 3 children. Investigators ultimately spoke with the girlfriend, who didn't really want to cooperate at first. She eventually did. She was able to confirm that it was James in the ATM surveillance photos, and also identified his disguised voice in the 911 call.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She also told investigators that she had found items stolen from one of the prior robberies, including the backpack with the credit card in it, that he had attempted to use at the ATM. And apparently he said that he had, found this book bag She says that she told him to turn it in. He said that he wanted to use the credit card to get whatever money he could out of it. And she knew about that, but said that she thought it was wrong. Yeah.
I mean, you can't control people.
You can't, but you can control who is living with you and your fucking children.
This is true. True that, yo.
So he was fucked. Now they just had to find him.
Yeah.
And on June 7th, 2005, a little over a month after his murder of Lindsey Bonistall, James Cooke was arrested at his sister's house in Wilmington. He was arrested for burglary, and this was for the credit card case. Upon interrogation, James denied any involvement in Lindsey's murder, but then he was hit with some undeniable evidence. His DNA was found underneath Lindsey's fingernails, and he was a match for the DNA obtained by the rape kit because he raped her before he strangled her. Yeah.
What an asshole.
Are you ready for this?
No.
The results of the DNA testing were 1 in 676 quintillion.
That's a number?
Yep.
That sounds like a bad name.
Yeah. 1 in 676 quintillion.
Quintillion.
So it was him.
Well, yeah.
Without a doubt. So faced with this evidence, James decided to switch up his story. And he said that he met Lindsey that night. I guess he had seen her stumbling around drunk. He went back to her apartment with her, smoked weed with her, had consensual sex with her.
Sure he did.
Mm-hmm, yeah. You can probably feel my eyes rolling from wherever you're at right now.
I wasn't even looking at you, and I felt them roll.
Yeah, so he insinuated that someone must have broken into her apartment after he left and then strangled her, wrote on the walls, and then set her body on fire to get rid of the evidence. Mm-hmm. So according to him, I guess there's 2 men running around Newark writing shit on walls after they rob people and kill them. Makes sense, right?
Total sense.
Unbeknownst to Newark police was that after James killed Lindsey and then fled Delaware, he actually went back to New Jersey and committed even more crimes. So as he was charged with the murder of Lindsey on June 13th, 2005, he was also charged with 5 counts of armed robbery in New Jersey. Okay. He was busy doing big things.
Same day.
Yeah. 2 years later, in February of 2007, James Cooke stood trial for the murder of Lindsey Bonistall. The first trial was relatively uneventful and resulted in him being found guilty and sentenced to death.
Good.
However, that was overturned in 2009 after the Delaware Supreme Court ruled that James Cooke's civil rights were violated by his attorneys when they entered a guilty but mentally ill plea, despite Cooke's objections. Apparently, Cooke was insisting on pleading innocent, but his attorney submitted a plea of guilt but mentally ill. So, as shitty as this is, under the law, his civil rights were violated, and that means he was entitled to a second trial. This is why attorneys need to be fucking careful, because this is the kind of shit that can happen. So this second trial ultimately took place in 2012, 7 years after the first trial. Now, unlike the first trial, this second trial was a fucking shit show. First off, James Cooke started out by acting as his own defense attorney.
Oh, of course he did.
Y'all know my thoughts on that. I've said it before with Stephen Pinnell. It's stupid.
It's super smart for all criminals to represent themselves. That's how we feel.
During the second trial, James took the stand on his own behalf and stated that he met Lindsey that night after she was coming home drunk from a party, says he smoked weed with her, and then they had sex. Now, unsurprisingly, this was blown out of the water when the prosecution cross-examined him with evidence that Lindsey was at her job at the time that he claims he was with her. I believe she was a waitress at Cafe Gelato on Main Street. Yeah. So it's proven that this didn't happen. Now, James Cooke apparently had several outbursts in the courtroom, causing Judge Tolliver to actually remove the jury from the room to have a little chat with him. And speaking as a paralegal, You don't want to be on a judge's shit list. It's really bad. Don't do that.
I'm not even in the field of law, and I know that.
Yes. James continued to deny any involvement and even went as far as to say that he was being framed and that police left items at the crime scene specifically to implicate him. Sure, Jan.
Yeah.
He continued arguing with Judge Tolliver repeatedly, and he was even trying to raise objections himself, to which the judge told him to knock it the fuck off. Verbatim. Just kidding, it's not verbatim, but wouldn't it be awesome if it was? Things got so bad that Judge Tolliver actually ordered the backup lawyers were to help assist in James Cooke's defense, because he was definitely not of any kind of mind frame to represent himself. Obviously.
He was an idiot.
Cooke was not pleased with this and told the judge that he was not getting a fair trial and that the timesheet was, quote, foul play. Clearly, this man is dumb as fuck, because that's not even what foul play means. But yeah, continue to pop off about how badly you're being treated, sir.
You're literally being given another chance, and you're fucking it all up.
Yeah. Correct.
Is fine by me.
So after everything was said and done, the jury didn't go for it, and he was ultimately found guilty again of the first-degree murder of Lindsey Bonistall, as well as rape, burglary, and arson. And he was again sentenced to death.
Good.
What a waste of taxpayers' money is all I'm saying. What a waste of money and time. The same fucking result. In 2014, attorney Anthony Figliola Jr. argued with the Delaware Supreme Court that his client, James Cooke, was entitled to a third trial.
Fuck him.
Luckily, this was shot down, and it's not happening.
Good.
In 2016, the Delaware Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional, so Cooke was ultimately resentenced to life without the possibility of parole. So at least he's not going anywhere.
I'd rather him just get the death sentence. You know how I feel about this, though.
It's a debate.
I know.
It's a debate. Maybe one day we'll have to do a podcast on just the differing views of pro-death penalty.
Yeah.
And because Alicia, we have a lot of similarities, but I do not believe in the death penalty, and Alicia does, which is okay. It is okay to disagree.
100%. We're still friends.
Exactly.
Still love you.
I respect your views.
And I respect your views.
Yes.
I think it's a little easier with mine because I know that you comprehend, like, if I feel like they can be rehabilitated, I don't believe in the death sentence.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I think there's a chance.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, listen, there's valid reasons for both points.
100%. I agree.
So in 2021, Cooke attempted to appeal his sentence of life without the possibility of parole, arguing that a sentence of life without parole is unconstitutional.
Fuck this guy.
And that his constitutional rights were violated because the judge wouldn't give him a specific number of years in prison.
He sounds like a Karen.
He's awful.
The Karen of the jail.
Yeah. This was also thrown out because it's not unconstitutional. But nice try, asswipe. I'm hoping that this is the last time we will hear of James Cooke because, quite frankly, as I said before, he's a complete waste of time, taxpayers' dollars, and also a waste of fucking space and air.
So think about this.
Yeah.
If they just stuck with the death penalty, he wouldn't be wasting our taxpaying dollars or air or space. Just saying.
I agree with you on that. However,
I'm just teasing.
I feel that it is more of a punishment to literally rot away in prison for the rest of your life. I understand the taxpayer mentality and argument of being pro-death penalty. I do. That's not lost on me at all.
Yeah.
But I think of myself, and I'm telling you right now, if I was given the option of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty, I would choose the death penalty because prison life is fucking awful. Yeah, I know people want to say, oh, they get to watch TV and they get 3 meals a day. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's true. Talk to anybody who's been in prison. Yeah. It's fucking awful.
I need to get somebody on here who's been in prison.
I'm working on that.
Oh, yeah, you are.
I am. I'm working on that.
Excellent.
So hence my debate for being pro life in prison without the possibility of parole versus the death penalty. The death penalty, it's a more humane way to die than someone passing away from cancer.
Yeah.
All you do is get an injection and you fall asleep and you're done. You don't suffer at all. Being in prison, you're suffering. Can you imagine dying in prison?
That would be a nightmare.
It sucks.
Yeah.
So
I see your point.
What is
1,000%.
Yeah, that is my argument for that.
You also know my view on the death penalty too. I think if you take a life, your life should be taken the way that you took that person's.
Yeah, and I see that.
You know what I mean?
That point
like,
of view.
I don't know. I'm just totally different. I actually feel very morbid and like kind of mean saying that, but that's kind of how my brain works though.
But that's your opinion and that's your views, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, like I 100% agree with you that they should suffer if they are as terrible if they are that terrible that they get life in prison without the possibility of parole. I think they should suffer the way that they made the people that they hurt suffer.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. As long as there's sufficient evidence,
Agreed.
DNA evidence that they did it.
Yes.
Just because, I mean, I always think of like the West Memphis 3 case, the one they were going to like put a literal like fucking child to death and they didn't even do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just you got to be careful with that shit.
Agreed.
You know?
I also
so
agree
if there's
with that.
sufficient DNA evidence and the circumstances align, it wasn't self-defense, you weren't being abused in any type of way, bullied, anything like that. I get your point. I do.
If you woke up and chose violence, then violence is going to be chosen for you. That's my brain.
I get it. I do. I respect that.
Sorry, we digress. Cut all that for a different episode.
But yeah, I feel so awful for Lindsey's family because not only did they lose their daughter in like the most horrific way possible, but then they had to sit at not one, but 2 trials and also all of the bullshit appeals from this jackass. So it was just like never ending, you know? All things considering, the Bonistalls are trying as hard as they can to keep the memory of their daughter Lindsey alive. In July of 2005, Lindsey's family created the Peace Outside Campus, the Lindsey M. Bonistall Foundation, which is dedicated to developing and maintaining safety measures in off-campus apartments. They also provide safety and crime prevention tips to college students living off of campus as Lindsey was. A scholarship was also founded in Lindsey's memory by the University of Delaware.
Aw.
So, yeah, I mean, it's always nice when something positive comes out of something like this, but
She should still be alive,
She
though.
should.
Playing her guitar, rocking out to some Chili Peppers, wearing her sparkly shoes, and hanging out with us because we would have been friends.
The whole thing is just, it's completely senseless.
It really is.
The entire thing. And it really, like, if you want to rob somebody, like, fucking rob them. But, like, why do you have to kill her? I mean, he was already robbing people. He robbed people before, and he robbed people after. So why did he have to kill her? That bothers me. Like, did she try to fight him?
Well, clearly,
and it pissed him off?
If his DNA was under her nails, yeah.
Yeah. And, well, I guess rape is his MO too, because he tried to rape one of his victims and, you know, she was able to get away.
Yeah.
It's, like I said, it's just so senseless to me. It's sad. I can't even imagine sending my daughter to college in another state and then having that shit happen to her. It makes me sick to my stomach. So
I don't know how I survived in college, honestly. I rode my bike from an off-campus house into campus every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because, like, looking back on, you know, my college days and being young like that, I did a lot of shit that could have gotten me killed.
Same.
And sometimes I really sit in, like, I lay in bed at night and think, holy shit, I should have been dead like 12 times at least.
Same. We're like cats.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, it's dangerous being a woman. I know that sounds stupid and preachy, but it is. Like, just, you know, I always say this, but be vigilant, you know, watch out for people, lock your doors. Don't sleep with your windows open, because apparently that's one of the, that's how he got in.
Or unlocked even.
Yeah. Just be careful.
Look
out for each other.
Look out for each other for sure. Stop hating each other, ladies.
Yeah.
But also walk with your keys in your hands like you're fucking Wolverine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
I walk like that and I feel like a crazy person, but you know what? They're there.
But you're not crazy. You're just trying to protect yourself, which it's sad that we even have to fucking do that. But here we are. We wouldn't have a podcast if, we didn't have to worry about that shit.
I know. What would we be talking about? Like Care Bears and My Little Ponies.
Puppies.
Oh, puppies.
Starbies and chilies. We said that at the same time. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, even though it's depressing. The shit's depressing, but also, something good did come out of it with, the foundation that her parents created and the scholarship that was created by the university. It's a shame that had to happen, but, at least they are looking for ways to make her life and death meaningful, Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of the things. Thank you to everyone who is doing that. We greatly appreciate it. We see every share. We see every like. We see every comment. We appreciate you.
We also hear the comments that you tell us verbally, and we take them to heart.
Yes.
We really appreciate good or bad.
Correct.
Because we can always improve, and we know that.
Listen, this is our first podcast. I'm going to say, when we started this out, we were kind of left with our asses in our hands because we thought that someone was going to be editing for us, and it didn't pan out.
It did not.
And it really left us in a bad spot. It left us scrambling. So, we basically taught ourselves how to use all of the equipment. Yeah. We taught each other how to edit. We watched YouTube tutorials. We Googled,
we still, every time we get together and record, have to look up something on YouTube.
Yes.
But we're doing it, man. We're here.
We are. And we constantly want to evolve and improve. So if you have any suggestions, let us know. I listen to the podcast so I can figure out how I personally can improve. So yeah, we're open to all of that.
Yes.
Yep.
We love you.
We love you. We will see you next Tuesday.
Don't be one.